Joe Hopkins here, and today I'm doing a book review. I haven't really reviewed any books before. Maybe I should get into it. But this time it's partially because the book was written by a pretty famous musician, the singer of P.O.D. They're, they were pretty big when I remember when they were pretty big. Late 90s, early 2000s, up through the early 2000s. Big band. It's called Son of Southtown, right? Now, I just want to say, I really enjoyed this book a lot. And I didn't expect to. I expected to not really like it that much. I'll start with why I expected to not really like it that much. And you might ask, Joe, if you didn't think you'd like it, why'd you buy it? All right, I didn't buy it. Baker Books sent it to me. Well, they sent it to my wife. You see, my wife used to host a radio program where she promoted various Christian writers and artists and singers and stuff like that, right? And Baker Books is, one of the larger Christian publishing firms. And my wife hasn't done a radio program in years, but once you're on a mailing list, you kind of stay on a mailing list, and they still send her all their books. So why does that matter? Because 90% of what Baker Books publishes is crap. If it's crap you like, that's fine. I understand there's crap that I like. It doesn't change that it's crap. Most of what they publish is really unreadable. I've tried. They send us books. I try. I was shocked, right? Actually, I was kind of surprised to see the singer of P.O.D. writing a book anyway. And the next reason I thought I wouldn't like it, I figured it's probably ghostwritten. That's how most of these go. You get some celebrity and you want them to have a memoir and you think it'll sell, and you get somebody else to do most of the writing. You get professional to do the majority of it. I know how that works. A lot of people don't. Why do I know how it works? Because my wife is a professional writer, and she literally is the person they would hire to write it for you. And I know what professional writing looks like. I'm not saying this is not well written. It is, but this is in his words. He wrote this book. He might have had some help with, editing and whatnot. Even professional writers do. They have editors and proofreaders and stuff. I know that too. But he wrote the book. I can tell because I know what professional writing looks like, and this ain't it. Which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad of that. When I read a memoir, I want to hear that person's life in that person's words, not written by somebody else, which is usually what happens. But in this case, he wrote this himself. I'm almost positive of it, dude. The dude's obviously, he's a smart guy, and he's good at putting things into words. But this isn't professional writing. He's a songwriter, not a book writer. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that it's in his words. Being in his words, I'm impressed at his ability to articulate himself in words. It's refreshing. It's good. The dude is a good writer. As far as this kind of thing is concerned, I don't know. Maybe he could write a fiction book, maybe not. But writing his own life, it's good. It definitely is good. So those are some of the reasons I didn't think I'd like it. Plus, I'm not big on memoirs. I like fiction, to be honest with you. You usually like sci-fi, that kind of stuff. I read some nonfiction. I read enough of it. I read my wife's work. That's nonfiction. But yeah, so here's what happened. This book came in the mail, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, I'll give it a try. I fully expect to not like it, but I'll give it a try. And I gave it a try and found I really, really liked it a lot. Now I'll tell you why I liked it. This dude, how do you put it, man? He is really on fire for God in a lot of ways. And I knew he was a Christian, but hearing his testimony was refreshing for me. I got a lot out of it. And the dude, I relate so hard to this book, it ain't even funny. Mostly because very similar experiences in a lot of ways. I grew up in the hood. He grew up in the hood. Coming from that same place. I mean, he's San Diego, I'm Baltimore, but the hood is the hood, man. I recognize the way you look at life from that perspective, coming from there, and then being a Christian, going to church. Yeah, I lived in the hood and we went to church in the better neighborhood. So, you know, it's like I'm reading about this guy walking through different worlds, you know, and I get it. I really, really get it. And as a musician who has been out there in the world of music, I haven't, you know, obviously he's made it a lot further than I have, but the music industry is the music industry, whether you're at the top or the bottom, it's all pretty similar. It's the same kind of stuff. It's just different level. I wouldn't even say more money. Some of the guys at the top really aren't making the money they should be making. You know, this guy included. Yeah, man, when you have several multi-platinum selling albums and you have to tour to make a living, to pay the bills, and not to live a huge lifestyle, just to live. Yeah, I get it. I dig it. You know, you got to go on tour because you got to pay for the kids' summer camp kind of thing. You know, no. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening when you sold that many albums. But yeah, I've been through a lot of the stuff myself, playing with bands in high school, touring around playing gospel music with my wife, and then trying to work on music stuff here as middle-aged, you know, which I'm not expecting to make it big. I'm doing it for fun, which is good because I'm not making any money at it. But I've been around the industry. I get it. So, you know, I got a lot in common with this guy. And I like that. I really relate to it. And, you know, as a Christian, a lot of the things he has to say make a lot of sense. It spoke to my heart. It really did. This guy, a lot of what he says really, it spoke to me in ways that I certainly wouldn't expect. A lot of this book really made me feel better in a lot of ways. It really gave clarity to some of the issues I'm dealing with. And, you know, that's how God works. He can work through various people. He works through this guy. I can tell because it spoke to me. It spoke to me in ways that I know Sonny Sandoval didn't expect it to speak to people, but it did. It spoke to me. I've got issues. I've got problems. And him talking about how he deals with his problems and how he takes it to God and the answers that God gives him really gives me some answers. And it helped. And if you're not a Christian, it's still a good read. I've read books from I have read some nonfiction stuff, memoirs and whatnot from various musicians, and not all of them are Christians, but most of them aren't. But a lot of times it's interesting to see the stuff other musicians are going through, I guess, because I'm a musician, that kind of stuff speaks to me. And it might to you guys too, given that most of you watching this channel are musicians and have been around other musicians or, you know, music in general. You get a lot of that stuff. It's a good book. It's worth reading. It's worth picking up. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to like it, but I ended up liking it a lot. This is one I'd read again, you know, of the couple of memoirs. Because like I said, I've read a couple musician memoir kind of things. This is my favorite. This is my favorite so far. I liked this about as on the same level of a lot of the fiction stuff I read. You know what I mean? Which is rare. Usually I'd rather be reading a good novel. And I'll read a memoir or some nonfiction because it's edifying. And even if I like it, it's usually like, you know, I'd rather be reading some Stephen King or Isaac Asimov or something, you know? This I liked as much as anything else I read, which really shocked the hell out of me. And I appreciate it. Definitely a good book. It's why I'm doing a review on it. Plus, it's music related, you know? I think the main reason when this came in the mail I actually read it is because I do like P.O.D. Quite a bit, actually. I appreciate their music quite a lot. Not just for like, I mean, I know a lot of people like, oh, I appreciate the message, right? I don't listen to music just because I like the message. If the message is good, great. The lyrics are pretty good, and their music is just banging. I like it. It's a sound I like. You know, it's not for everybody. Not everybody likes that kind of heavy stuff, but I do, and I dig it. You know, their stuff was coming out around the same time that a lot of other bands were getting, you know, into the same sort of heavy, you know, metal rap kind of thing. I like their music, basically. So I was like, okay, I'll read the book. Yeah, it's a good book. It's worth reading. The guy's story is interesting. Like I said, even if you're not a very religious person or not religious at all, his story is interesting. Anytime people can articulate what they've gone through, it can be interesting. And this guy tells his own story very well. And, you know, he's been through a lot. It's interesting because he has been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. Not all of us are good at telling the story of our lives, though. I mean, think about it, man. You don't have to be famous to have an interesting story. We all have interesting stories. Some people are just better at telling them than others. This guy has a particularly interesting story, having been, you know, being in a big-time rock band. Means he's got some interesting stories to tell, and he tells them well. So, yeah, I'd say pick up a copy of it. You know, Son of Southtown by Sonny Sandoval. You know, it's funny. I didn't know that was his name until this book came in the mail. I'm like, who the hell's Sonny Sandoval? Oh, the lead singer of P.O.D. All I know is the lead singer of P.O.D. But now I know his name, so there we go. Shows how much attention I pay to some of my favorite bands. I don't know who's in the band. I like them. Anyway, it's allergy season, and yeah. So check it out, and hey, I tell you what, you should check out not just his music, you should check out my music. There's links to streaming. It's down below. Not a lot of you are checking it out. I looked at my monthly listeners, and you're not listening. You should listen. My music's good. Like I said, I don't expect a lot. I'm realistic. You know. But yeah, there's some playlists come up at the end here. One of them says I didn't get a memory. That's the playlist for my album on YouTube here. You should check it out. You just stay in YouTube. Most of you have probably tuned out by now. You clicked off. As soon as you start talking about your own shit, everybody's like, screw you, man. I see it. I see the analytics. It's right up to the end and then boom, drops right off. As soon as I say, hey, listen to my music, you're like, screw that guy. Anyway. I will see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.